All right, we're live. So this is MVP episode 7. This week we have Thomas from PerkUp. Hi, Thomas.
Hey guys, how's it
How
going?
are you?
It's good.
Doing well, doing well.
Nice.
So what is PerkUp?
So PerkUp is a company that helps other companies drive employee engagement by issuing preloaded Visa cards to their team. So they distribute a bunch of cards, and the employees can use those cards to buy perks. So they can buy fitness passes, they can get childcare services, education, mental health, buy office equipment. So by distributing these cards, we're allowing teams to buy their own perks and drive the employee experience.
Okay. So getting perks. I know there's like a lot of benefits that people have at work. So like,
Yeah.
what's the problem with benefits or perks right now?
I don't know if there's a problem with benefits, but within perks, I mean, like kind of the history of things is startups were doing like beer taps and ping pong tables and trying to create like more of a culture. And Google caught wind of that and was like, oh, that's exciting. Let's do massages and let's do your laundry and let's have golf carts. They went above and beyond. And I mean, next thing you saw is every company in Silicon Valley basically had a smoothie bar. They're all just trying to compete, to be competitive with hiring and to make sure that the retention rates are good. But the big problem today, I mean, we're operating remotely. So now people are thinking, okay, let's get people's home office set up. But going beyond that, like what do you do to support employees? Like how do you create a unique culture? And how do you support everyone when everyone has different needs? And they're worried about the remote setting today, but a lot of people are thinking about the future. So when we're in a hybrid state, when we go back to the office, and if you're still doing those catered lunches, what are you doing for everyone at home? Are you just sending them Uber Eats gift cards or that sort of thing? So trying to figure out how you can support your team beyond the traditional benefits, and especially in a remote or hybrid setting is the major problem.
So you kind of mentioned the Uber Eats gift cards. Like what are people doing today to kind of solve this perk issue?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably the most common is like reimbursement processes. Like a lot of companies will have like a Confluence doc or something that explains what you can buy, what you like, how much you have. You go out and buy it, and you get reimbursed in Workday or whatever HR system you're using, or they use a tool like Expensify. So that would probably be like the most common way to manage the reimbursement. But yeah, gift cards would definitely be another way. HR might just take it into their own hands and buy the service for you. So there's like wellness boxes being distributed. They might like get a subscription to like Headspace and give everyone an account. So setting it up for the team themselves, gift cards and reimbursement is probably the most common.
So how big do you think the problem is? Like, because you're saying that there's a lot of people that are in their job, they're not actually using the benefit, right? So like, how much of that money that you are going to be able to like solve the problem with your PerkUp?
I haven't actually spent too much time looking at like the total market size or how much like dollars is actually spent unused. I think I'm just going off of like the small sample size of like roughly 100 companies that I've spoken to and saying, hey, like, how are you guys doing it today? Do you guys offer some sort of program? And how is it going? Like, is it working? And there are some companies that are doing it right and they're spending a lot of time on it. But for the most part, companies are putting dollars to kind of waste, or the total rewards, what HR is seeing is being given to the employees. And when the employees actually receiving, there's a disconnect there because not everything is being utilized.
What was like the motivation? Is there like an origin story to PerkUp?
Yeah, so I was working for a company called Eventbrite and events and ticketing. So last year was definitely a hard year, and I, like everyone else, had to start working remotely. So I'm working from my bedroom, and I'm just like, man, I wish I had a co-working space. Like I need to get out of here, and ask to get a co-working just somewhere that I can get outside of the bedroom. And obviously there was no budget for that. And then I had friends at Shopify and other places that were getting support from their employer. And I was like, even if they paid for my Netflix or Spotify, like I'd be psyched. Like just getting something would go a long way. And that was the original like idea in the list of like the bad ideas that I was just kind of writing down in a notebook, and started pitching that to companies. And they were like, oh, that's interesting, but not something that we'd be interested in actually doing because the reimbursement process is painful. Like adding a subscription or two wouldn't change the experience compared to how much work it would actually be to set up.
So what is the price model right now? How do you make money?
So we charge per enrolled member that has a card and a budget. So we charge $3 if you want to have up to a $60 budget per user. And if you want to have integrations, multiple programs, or more than a $60 budget, that's $6. So we're a SaaS business.
Oh, so like a subscription model to provide for people to use your services. Do you also take cut if like people are buying, let's say that if I'm purchasing from like Udemy, like do you take a cut from that too?
Not today, but there's companies like Brex and others that do make money on the transaction that's taking place. I think you have to have like the right partners and different technology that we're using to have that business model. But we're really falling into more of the employee experience versus like expense management and staying outside of like corporate cards. But that's definitely a revenue stream that we're considering in the future. Another thing other than like the credit card interchange is having a relationship with specific vendors. So like you mentioned, Udemy, they're always having promos. If we could get access to some of those pros and drive traffic to their site and convert on some courses, maybe we could get a bit of a kickback, but we would want to make sure that we're sharing that with our customers so they can like maximize their value and their dollar spent.
Yeah, $3 sounds like a steal. Like it's so little for a startup. Like I feel like every company should be doing this.
I mean, it adds up. Yeah.
Yeah. So have your idea evolved over time? Like what was your original idea is pretty much what you are today. Is it true?
No, I mean the original idea was the great idea of like offer Netflix and Spotify to your team, and then the feedback was a lot of crickets on the other side. And then I learned about like this card issuing technology where we can restrict cards to certain merchants. So came back and said, hey, let's remove that reimbursement process and let's issue cards to the team. And this wasn't really at the point where I had customers, but I was talking to doing a lot of customer discovery calls. And as I was learning more about the jobs that they were doing, the pains they were experiencing, what they were actually looking for as an outcome, the reimbursement process was the pain they were experiencing, but the desired outcome is improving the employee experience, making it more desirable for people to join the company, making the existing employees happier, and driving retention rates. Like that's one of the main ways that they're calculating that ROI. So rather than just saying, hey, our big value prop is removing the reimbursement, let's try to actually improve that employee experience. And we do that by providing a better like platform experience for employees, offering better perks, and eventually wanted to like get into fostering a connection between employees that might be interested in similar things. So Ian and I can go and get Peloton together or something like that.
Yeah, I think your mission is like you kind of mentioned that like just like right now, I think with COVID and people working from home, there's super high burnout. And so if you're going to help with employee retention, that's a huge, and just making people happier at work. I mean, that's a huge mission. Cool.
So what do you do with the money today? Let's say that if I'm an employee from a company, I have $50 and this month I spend like 30. So what are you going to do with the rest of 20? Does it go back to the company or does it just like waste it?
So we're holding the money on deposit for the company. So that's not ours. It's our customers. And our policy right now is that it doesn't roll over for the employee, but it does for the employer. So as an employee, you might have $50 per month, and we want to make sure that you extract all that value within that current month. So spend it or lose it, or if you don't spend it, you lose it. But the employer, they only pay for what the employees actually buy. So if you spend 40 out of the $50, then we top up to $50, add $40 and top up to 50 at the end of the month.
That's interesting because I know that a lot of company, like for example, a lot of brokerage like account, they would just like use the money that you have in the account and then they will reinvest it. So that this way they still are holding the money, but they're not just holding in a saving account because then it's gonna lose money, right, every year. So do you plan on doing something like that?
So we don't hold full balance amounts. So for larger corporations, like let's say you had 100 employees and $100 budget per month, we're not going to take that entire amount. Like we want to hold a smaller portion of that, and we're still working out that logic. But we don't want to get into the game just yet of holding a large amount of working capital. and even think about doing something like that, because that isn't our money, and we'd be under a different set of regulations if we got into that game.
Oh,
I
interesting.
see. I see.
Cool. I'm gonna try out this. See if we can do that. Got a nice comment.
Not late.
Yeah,
Nice.
nice. So
we can
let's-
show the demo, right?
Yeah, let's show the demo.
All right. So maybe you can just talk through like what we're seeing here. I'll pull this
Yeah.
over.
So we are looking at this like dashboard that we just signed in. So what should we do?
Yeah, so this is the main dashboard for employees. So they get to see, like, you can see your balance, what program you're part of. You also get to see your card, it is a Visa card. It's a virtual card right now. So if you click on that, you'll be able to see the details of it and how you can go around and use it. And then, so the main parts of the member experience is how much do I have in your account? How much is sitting in your wallet? Card details when you want to use it. And then what can you go buy? So if you go to Explore Perks in the top navigation, you'll be able to just comb through this list of what's here. So your employer, Big Green Company, has set up a program that's restricted to a few categories. So based on the categories that they've restricted, the card will only work for these merchants up to $50.
Nice.
So the member experience is simplified, really just trying to figure out how much do I have, what are my card details, and what can I buy with that.
So I'm pretty sure we're in a tax account, right? Like, so if I hit buy Udemy, what will happen?
So you'd be directed over to the Udemy site, and then you would add the Perk card as a payment method. So you might have to update your payment method, or if Udemy allows it, adding an additional one. And then when processing the transaction, it would be deducted from your balance inside of PerkUp.
Nice.
Okay. It's so easy. It's really easy.
Yeah, this definitely had evolved over time, because I remember the first time this wasn't as close to this. You're doing a good job.
Yes, this is a lot.
Thanks, I appreciate that. Yeah, most of a lot of the features of the platform are really on the admin side of things. So if you guys click on Big Green Company, you'll go over to like more of HR's perspective. So this dashboard, once you have a live program, you're going to say, hey, how many people are active? Like, how many people are actually using their cards? And then if you want to take more of a granular look, you can say, hey, how many people have spent X percent? Eventually, we want to get into data of like everyone spending on the first of the month or the last of the month. So giving you like a more of a calendar view, and then also getting some insights on like what are people buying. And this data is all anonymized. So we're abstracting above. So you're not saying who's buying ClassPass or Headspace, but you're just saying what are the most popular things within your org. To add on to these insights as well, we're also collecting information about users of their interest, not only what they're buying, so what they're clicking on. They can go through forums where they can say, hey, we're interested in childcare, fitness stuff. So providing more insights to HR and how to kind of change and mold the program over time.
Oh, great. So they can see like what their employees really want.
Yeah, even if they're not spending it, like before, they can give that explicit feedback without actually making a purchase on the card as well.
Oh, that's
Nice.
great.
I really like this part that this graph is showing. It's just clear and what's going on. And that's probably tiny little bugs here, but like it's not a big deal.
I think iPad's a strange use case sometimes for this.
So let's see the perk program.
Yeah, so this is when we get into, you guys have one program today. If you go add program.
Add program. Okay.
So this will bring you up the interface for creating a new program. So a program has a name, a budget.
Let's do fitness. Try this out. So this is like the budget I would spend, and this is.
Yeah.
So what does this promote new users?
Prorate means that if someone joined in the middle of the year.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, no, that's good.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. So what happened if I have a new program?
So your guys' account isn't live because you don't have a funding source right now, but that program, all the members that are eligible or enrolled. We can get into like the user section in a bit, but they'll be added as an enrolled member, and then they'd have access to spend $60 on those categories of perks that you selected. So fitness, cell phone, education, food, and news.
Okay. Cool.
I kind of have the feeling that maybe you don't even need to limit people from what kind of fuel they want to spend, right? Wouldn't that make sense?
Our model is like there's organizations have their own opinions, their own cultures, and their own values. So we don't have a strict view on it. We don't want to give too much granularity and saying, hey, this merchant versus that merchant, like Headspace versus Calm. But these are the general categories, and let's give control to you as a company to figure out what's your budget and what it should be used towards.
That's a good idea. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Integrates with Gusto for payroll and stuff. Okay.
Yeah. So with those list of integrations there, what we can actually do is pull your list of active employees from that system over to PerkUp. And then once you do that, you'll actually get another tab on the left-hand nav that says Employee Directory. And you can invite all, you can invite select people, or you can do a sync. So with the sync, if someone leaves the organization, we would detect that in your HRIS, and then we would remove them from PerkUp. If someone joins the organization, they would get an invite to the program. So we're trying to make it more hands-off from like a management perspective, because we've got a funding source, so we're automatically deducting that amount, so you don't have to worry about paying an invoice. If your employees are joining the company and leading the company, you're going through maybe a growth stage, then you don't have to worry about, does everyone have the card? Are we paying for accounts that employees aren't active anymore, kind of thing. So that's one of the main benefits of integrating with your HR platform.
Yeah, that's super easy.
I really like this like QuickBooks integrations, because I know how such a pain of like just having to do accounting for your company. It's just like you don't know which category you want to put this money in, and if you could just like integrate it and then like just automatically show up on your accounting software, that I think that would be a big plus.
Yeah, the integrations today just pull over your employee directory, but that's definitely a next step. Like we want to get into making sure that you're adding it to the right line item as a company, but also any sort of deductions that you need to do from the employee standpoint that we're handling those as well. And it's complex because it varies based on where you're spending it in which state and what you're buying. But as we become more knowledgeable about that, we can generate reports, and you can manually do it, or you could do it through integrations based on the accounting system that you're using.
I love this. This is exciting.
Yeah,
like, I would definitely want mine to be on this.
Yeah,
if I was an
because
employee.
especially with the current system so broken and old, it just like it doesn't make sense to use them anymore.
Yeah, no, hopefully. I mean, there's definitely, I mean, among the younger generation, people are getting excited about it because they look at the list of Explore perks and they recognize so many of the names. Like the budgets don't need to be $200 because, I mean, then you kind of be worried about how am I going to spend all this? But if you're dealing with $20, $40, or $60 budgets, it's pretty clear how you'd be able to spend that if you're using a few of these platforms here.
Right, it doesn't take that much to like really.
So I guess I do have a question, like because you're saying that like the money doesn't roll over, right? Like what if my account only have $50, but the thing I want to spend on your platform actually costs $70? How would you solve that problem?
That's a great question. So partial payments. When you go into a restaurant, a lot of them say, hey, let's split this bill. Like Queenie and Ian are like, he's going to pay half, I'm going to pay the other half, kind of thing. When you're making a purchase online, most merchants don't allow that. So our card right now does reject that transaction when you try to spend more than your allocated amount. But what we're looking to do is allowing employees to add a funding source. One thing that we have an option is we can get into employees approving a deduction from their payroll up to a certain amount, so that if you spend more, deduction on your next pay stub. There's a lot of different edge cases there. So another thing that we're considering is the employees adding a funding source and adding some funds in. So they can add their own personal credit card and say, hey, we'll approve up to $15 or something like that. And then you could buy something, even a couple of dollars more than your allocated amount.
Okay, yeah, that would be
interesting. So it just kind of act like a credit card or just a debit card.
Like a gift card.
Yeah, like a gift card.
Yeah.
It's like a gift card with superpowers. Like we have, it works anywhere that Visa works. So it works internationally as well. we are only working with US based businesses right now, but if you have international employees, we can process transactions because it works anywhere that Visa works. And then the list of perks that's here today, we can just add to our system and then approve when the transaction happens. So at the top, there's a suggest a perk button, and employees can suggest a perk. And we're trying to have a 24 to 48 hour turnaround, but if there's something that's missing, we can add it to the list.
Get Scott.
That would be a great investment.
Approved Robinhood, but
Robinhood, right? Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. So what do you see the benefit of employees, like what the future of it would be like?
Yeah.
Do you think that this is something that would be the end, or you just halfway there?
I mean, we're really trying to improve like the modern employee experience, and we're still like I'm still learning so much about the HR space, about how this works. But I think one of the most interesting things is truly being able to foster that connection between employees as they get a comment, like almost collaborate on a perk. So coming back to that story of like ping pong tables and beer taps, at the start, like when everyone joins, like as you're onboarding people, they're like, I'm going to use all the swag, I'm going to use all the perks, they use everything. 6 months in, you've got the people that are the regulars at the ping pong table or the beer tap or the kombucha tap, like there's different groups of people that are using the different perks that are available, and they're seeing those people regularly and they're fostering that connection. How do you do that in a hybrid or remote setting, right? So a lot of these services, they can be used individually, but if we can bring employees together and they can improve their relationship as colleagues to become better friends, that's like huge success for me. Like, I think that's really interesting. So that's how I'm thinking about improving the employee experience right now, but I again, still learning lots about it.
Yeah, and I mean, like everyone, like every digital product, like YouTube or Facebook, like your news feed is all customized to what you like, right? So why should perks work any different, right? So like your perks should be what you like. It's not like not everyone likes ping pong and not everyone drinks and whatever. So it should be customized to, the goal is to make you a happy employee.
Yeah. And if we can take it a step further by saying, hey, like you didn't know that someone else was also interested in that same thing, but now you do because you're both getting access to it from the organization, and you can enjoy that time together. You can like enjoy that service, or like you can enjoy it together in some way.
Cool.
Awesome.
Do you want to move on to goals and obstacles?
Yeah, let's talk about goals and obstacles. So we kind of get this from startup school. I'm sure you're pretty familiar with this. We want this to be hyper-focused. So what's your goals and obstacles of the week?
Of the week?
Yes.
Okay. I really want to get, so my goal last week was getting 3 sale SQLs, sale qualified leads. This week, I'm really hoping for 1 more verbal confirmation. I've got 5 so far, and 3 of them have onboarded. 2 of them are still in the process of onboarding. So I'm hoping to get like my 6th customer is kind of what I'm saying. That's the big goal. So, it's ambitious.
Any obstacles, or is that kind of goal and obstacle?
Oh no, obstacle is hiring a head of engineering. I mean, I'm still building the entire platform right now, and it's not scalable. I should not be writing the code, especially when we're dealing with all this movement of money. And I was hoping to be like hiring in a couple months, but I mean, the conversations with customers are going really well, and I kind of just want to keep up that momentum. So I posted that I'm hiring a head of engineering last week, and I would expect more interest than has come through. So I'm getting the harsh reality of how hard hiring is, but definitely an obstacle of hiring a head of engineering.
What's your stack, or are you looking for a specific type of like skill set, or are you open for someone to come in and change your technology?
We're all built on top of Firebase, using a few of like GCP's direct tools, but Firebase is on top of GCP, and like I'm familiar with JavaScript, so we're running Node on the back end, written in TypeScript, and then using React, which is vanilla JavaScript on the front end. So it's a pretty common, familiar stack, and I'm not the one that should have made these decisions. So I'm definitely open to the decision changing. I just think it's not just technology for the sake of technology. Like, what are our business goals? How are we thinking about scaling? And also based on their experience. So it's definitely open to it.
Cool. What are our goals? Our goal is pretty simple this week. We're just trying to monetize. We launched on Product Hunt as Big Green Company, and
Nice.
we actually got featured.
We got featured on the front page, which is
so
great.
that was pretty exciting.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. If you haven't, you should definitely do it.
Yeah, you should definitely do it. And
I'm disappointed that I didn't get pinged now. I mean, I wasn't on the ping stack to like it.
Oh, you know what? We should have sent it to you.
we should send it to you.
Yeah, so that went really well. And we're just trying to monetize. We're trying to add buy buttons on everything. And just try to figure out ways, like build something somebody wants to pay for. So
we got a lot of inspiration from this guy who built like No Manless, and it's like Levels.
Peter Levels, yeah.
Yeah, Peter Levels. And he's saying he's the guy famous for building 12 startups in 12 months. And yeah, right? Isn't that crazy? But he's just like, oh, if I'm gonna be doing one thing, I'll be bold, because of what to him is that if you put a bunch of like projects out there, like something interesting, it will hit, like, because you never know what's the thing that clicked, right? So like putting something out there and just let it sit there for a couple of months and see how it goes.
Well, I think we also made a mistake by building something without like confirming if someone would pay for it. So I think we're trying to be like, okay, so we got some users and got some feedback, but let's see what people will actually pay for. So that's our obstacle. Any recommendations, like books, TV, podcasts, or anything?
Have you guys watched the How to Start a Startup by like Sam Altman and the rest of the YC team on YouTube?
I
don't think I did.
I don't know. Maybe.
How was it?
We watch a lot of that stuff, but
yeah, it's very similar to a lot of the content I think we've been indulging in, but it's 20 lectures. They're like 45 minutes to an hour each, and I kind of just listen to them as I'm making dinner or on a walk or something like that, and I found that they're really good. They're a couple of years old, but I would highly recommend How to Start a Startup on YouTube by the YC team.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good recommendation.
So what's our recommendation this week? I would say Rich Dad Poor Dad. If people haven't read this book, this is one of the best books that got me started on investing, and also got me to start thinking about how to be a maker and instead of like being an employee. So that was like a really good book.
Yeah, it's like probably one of my favorite books.
Yeah, and it's really easy
Rich Dad
to
Poor
read.
Dad, right?
Yeah. Everyone. Have you read it?
I think every kid
I've
should
got
read
it. I've heard it a couple times, but I haven't read it.
Oh, I think every like middle school age or high school age kid should read this book.
I have that category for sure.
Yeah.
Guys,
Anybody.
This has changed so much. I mean, there's no more big green bags anymore.
No,
we don't do bags anymore. The thing is, like, when we know it doesn't work, you have to have the wisdom to know it doesn't work.
Yeah, we learned a lot though. We still are selling bags, and we just went over to check on one place. They've sold a bunch of them, but nobody wants to return them. So
yeah, we didn't get any return, and they sold a bag for $12 each. We sell them for $6, and they make a ton of profit, but no one really wanted to return a bag. So that's
which they're okay with, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to move on. I think you know what you can change and what you can't, and I can't really force people to change their habits, but just make it.
Right.
I don't know. We're figuring it out.
Have you guys read Crossing the Chasm?
Crossing the Chasm?
What's that?
Crossing the Chasm. That's what it's called. It's like it's about like getting like early like product market fit, but like not moving into a segment of customers that would be like the kind of early adopters, but not the innovators. I'm not sure if I'm using the terms properly, but like I'm always afraid of getting the innovators on board, early adopters on board, but not able to cross the chasm to the early majority to like have like large scale product market fit. And I think that's one thing that I'm always constantly worried about. Like I'm getting some really good feedback from my early customers, but some of them come in and they're like, I just love brand new tech. And I'm like,
Ah.
do you love this product, right? Like, it's like, are you interested in this? So it's awesome that you guys were able to identify that early on with Big Green Company. And I think that's super important to have that self-awareness.
I think one thing that you can know if your user is serious about your product is that if they give up two things, one is time, the other one is money.
Yeah.
If they're willing to give you one of those, then they mean they're deadly serious about this.
Yeah. But just how big is that market of those types of people kind of thing is the concern.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
So cool. This was great. How can people find you if someone is looking
If someone trying to look for a job, if they want to like work for you, how would they contact you?
I have a bunch of links on perkupapp.com. That's like more information about PerkUp, but like also very open to people sending a message on LinkedIn, like very active there, and always happy to chat about engineering, perks, business, startups, you name it.
Nice.
Awesome.
Cool.
You heard it here.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it. Like,
thanks, guys. I appreciate it, Ian. Thanks for reaching out, and this is awesome that you guys are doing that. And the pivot looks awesome. I'll give you guys a closer look after this. And yeah,
Great.
Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, your feedback is the best. You've given us some really, really good feedback.
We have to find you and do another user interview with you.
Yeah, we'll hold you to that.
I'd love it. Cool.
All right.
You guys are making progress.
All right.
later.
See you.
See ya.
Bye.